Very quickly, I'd just like to add a disclaimer that this video, around maybe like three-quarters of the way in, it does talk about dark thoughts. So if you don't want to hear about that, then please click off this video. If you think it will distress you, please watch another video of mine or another log of mine, because this one is not the one, especially if you think it will distress you. Alright, now let's move on to the other voiceovers I made for this video. I'm taking it easy on the intro to get back into the swing of things. You think because I do this every single day, it's like, what do you mean back into the swing of things? But I just want to be able to just make something that doesn't put too much, I wouldn't say pressure, that may not be the right word, even though that's the first word that I came up with in my mind. I'll use that word. I don't want to put too much mental pressure on me to get it perfect, exactly how I'd ideally see it every single day. The fact that I've done something is a start. But anyway, I'll let the main voiceover play. In the words of Mario, here we go. Yep, that's how he says it, man. Here we go. Alright, let the main voiceover play. Let's go. Alright, the main voiceover has started now. And before I address anything that I actually planned to address yesterday for today's video, I'd like to say that I've actually experienced a voiceover recording high. I have now found basically the perfect place to be able to stick the phone so the sound isn't too loud or too quiet when I speak for the voiceovers from now on. And the place is in front of the handbrake and behind the gear stick. There's a flat part that's in between both the handbrake and the gear stick that I can put the phone flat on, and it allows me to create the voiceover so it's not too quiet or too loud. And I'd just like to say, with this voiceover high, I'd just like to say that we all who are on the self-improvement journey, on our self-improvement journeys and self-improvement journeys as well, those guys. But for me, I'm self-improvement. For the guys, especially on self-improvement, and for the self-improvement ones, we're all figuring it out every single day. I think from now on, that may actually have to be a rule. That may have to be a rule within the self-improvement community, that you have to be on it every single day. There are no days off. There are days when you can certainly decrease the intensity by a large amount, for sure. That would be, in my opinion, necessary so that you can have a balance in your life. But days off? Nah, I don't think so. Why do you want to have a day off from transforming your life and improving it? Even if it's extremely smally, even if it's to an infinitesimally small amount. For example, instead of trying to set yourself to do so much X, Y, Z, A, B, C, you just drink some more water and you hydrate yourself more than you usually would. And then from there, you experience that life experiencing or going through life is just a lot more pleasant when you're actually hydrating your body to a healthy amount. Like, you could start off with, you could do that on a day you want to ease off. You could really focus on something else that's small and that you want to become an automatic habit, like drinking a healthy amount, for example, as I've just been saying. But yeah, I've experienced that. Oh, pardon me. Hold on a sec. Bless me, rather. Alright. But yeah, I wanted to say that I've experienced this voiceover recording high. as a part of the self-improvement, we talk about our quote-unquote lows, our highs, and everything in between. And this is me doing that. Okay, now let's actually move on to what I have planned to talk about. So I'll ease into it. I'll start off with the dreams that I had last night. I had quite a few, but I think I'll talk about the main one, which is related to this channel and this community. I had a dream in which I'd be getting a whole load of comments. I want to say 26 comments on the video, because that's the number I remember from the dream. In the comment section of one of the videos, saying that the quality of the videos, they need to improve, even though we're on our way to improving the videos. This is quite interesting. I think this just shows to me how deeply invested I am into this journey. But I'd say that I'm invested in this journey to a much healthier amount than I have been in the past. Now that I'm on quote-unquote monk mode, in which I absolutely cannot look at YouTube at all. I can only use, in the realm of YouTube, I can only use the phone to record videos and to upload the videos and to edit them as well. I didn't actually think of that, but that's just known when it comes to creating these sorts of videos. If you have numerous clips, then you have to edit them. Even if it's separate clips, I'd still say you probably have to edit them as well, because you'd be adding the voiceover on top of it. Maybe that's editing, maybe not, but yeah. Maybe, actually no, I wouldn't say maybe, I'd say that certainly could happen. For sure, that certainly could happen. And maybe I'm doing what it takes every single day, day in, day out, for that to happen, in which I get those sorts of comments, and in which I get told that, or advised that I should improve the quality of the videos. As I've said in at least one previous log, I want to invest into SD cards that have that can contain a lot of footage by having a large storage. I've said this, and I also said that a friend of mine gave me the link to an editing app program that they said somebody else used, and who believe that that's actually better than Adobe Premiere Pro, even though it's a free editing app. And to be fair, what works for some people may not work for others, but it absolutely is an amazing starting point to be able to upgrade my gear by using the camera that's there, by investing in the SD card as a quote-unquote business expense. At the end of the day, that is going to make me more money by me being able to provide more value through these videos, by making the videos more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, by the visuals being of higher quality, and perhaps also the editing as well, because I'd be doing that too. And with this editing app, the transitions that I could do may be much more creative and much more aesthetically pleasing than the app CapCut, which I'm using right now. Will that happen? I don't know, but it certainly is a possibility, and sooner or later, I'm going to put it out there right now, sooner or later, I will invest in higher quality gear, which I will use, and every single day I'm on my way to that happening every day. And you're going to see it, I'm going to see it, and you're going to see it. Everyone who's a part of this community and everyone who's watching these videos, you're going to see it. And especially if you come in the future and you go back to this log, you'll hear me put it out there. Especially if you're watching this part of the video now, you'll hear me put it out there, and then you actually see me have the higher quality gear and have the higher quality videos. I'd also say a microphone as well, so that I can improve the audio quality for the of the voiceovers for every video. Even though the audio quality is actually pretty good right now, I'd say I absolutely am not in any way unhappy with the audio quality now, but it may be able to improve. I don't think you'd hear me fidget as much if I got a proper microphone instead of using this phone microphone on the iPhone XR. This is, if you actually, I felt short-term discomfort saying which phone I had, but I think that could be very helpful for other people that want to do videos like these, daily videos in which you're recording yourself train, or just videos in general. I'd say from personal experience, as I'm using it right now, you can hear the audio quality and you can see the visual quality. And I absolutely would advise people to get a phone like this if they want to be able to start off with creating at least somewhat high quality videos through fairly high quality visual and audio quality. When it comes to improving audio quality, I'd also say if you can, record in your car. That gets rid of background noise from outside. However, I would also advise you not to fidget like how I've done in the video, because you will hear that on this phone. Especially if the microphone is right next to the seat, right next to the handbrake, and you're playing with the handbrake, right next to the gear stick and you're playing with the gear stick. Like, you'll hear all that. And you'll also hear if you're playing around with the car, then you're gonna hear it. That won't be muffled out. However, if you don't move, then it's only going to be the voice that you'll hear in at least somewhat high audio quality. So if there's anything that I'd advise when it comes to starting off, I'd say maybe the iPhone XR is your best bet. When it comes to starting off, what a place to start off, honestly. And I wouldn't say I feel grateful for that, because right from the start I've been able to have fairly high quality videos in both visual quality and audio quality. It was just that I didn't think of how I could improve audio quality right at the start. And I feel grateful that I didn't do that, because that could have further postponed me from actually making a start. But the fact that I didn't think of that has, in my opinion, most likely been one of the main reasons as to why I've been able to make a start. So when it comes to anyone that wants to create self-improvement videos like I am now, that's the advice I give. Just make a start. You can focus on improving your audio quality and your visual quality, edited app transitions and all of that. You can focus on that later, but just make a move. Just start. Even if it's a 10-second, even if you're doing an exercise for 10 seconds, you can build off that. And you can improve from that. In the words of Daniel Louisi from Asheville, I'd say 20% of something is better than 100% of nothing. I'm not actually sure if I've said that in previous videos, but I know damn well that that's not my idea. I heard it from him, and I'm just copying and pasting what he said, because I agree with the viewpoint. And let's go more into my experiences with this. I don't even have a day 1 or a day 2, but you'll see in my day 4 that I spoke about starting from somewhere. So if there's any advice that you want to have when it comes to starting from somewhere, that from someone that actually had to start from somewhere, then that may be your best bet, especially if you want to carry on watching my videos. That would probably be one of your best bets, along with investing in a phone like the iPhone XR. I could tell you from experience, this is the sort of audio visual quality that you're going to get when it comes to filming with that filming with the iPhone XR camera. I use the selfie camera, or otherwise you just see a block of wood. Honestly, you're seeing the selfie camera or the front camera when I record all of these videos. Or otherwise, again, you'd just see a block of wood if I didn't. Now, let's move on to something else. So, these are my thoughts on reaching day 90. I personally think that this is probably a start that I'm probably in a place which I never would have expected myself to be. I think on day 84, I said I wait for the day that I reach day 90. If I'm not mistaken, that was because that would have led me closer, because day 90 is closer to day 100 than day 85 is, or day 84 is to day 100. But I would have never known that this, starting from yesterday, and also, starting from yesterday, that I'd be on the path to creating absolutely extreme and drastic changes in my life. I would have never thought that this would be the start to much better things, but I really believe it is. Not only are we closer to the day 100 mark, we're closer to the 4-month mark, which means we're closer to being a third of the way through a year when it comes to these videos. And I did some calculation, and if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be the third year mark is going to hit on day 126, which is the 29th of April. And we have 4 more days until the 3-month mark hits. I just wanted to confirm that it actually is 4 more days until the 3-month mark hits, and it's true. Yeah, the 29th of March, the 3-month mark, and the 25% of a year mark, therefore, is 4 days from now. Which means that that's going to hit on day 94, which isn't all that far away. And I don't expect myself to achieve absolutely drastic changes within the space of 4 days. Just like how I don't expect myself to go through drastic changes within the space of more than 30 days, or maybe bang on 30 days. No, it'd be 94 to 126, so that's 32 days. Yeah. I can't expect myself to undergo absolutely drastic, extreme changes in the space of 32 days. That's just not going to happen. But I'll tell you what, in the space of 32 days, I'd be, from the day 94 mark, I'd be 33, I'd be a third of the way in, a third of a year into this journey. And by that point, the self-improvement community would have grown massively. It would have grown. It certainly won't be at where it is now. I'm just uploading way too much for that to happen. When you upload, I could tell you from a creator's perspective, when you upload, the amount of impressions, people who see your thumbnail for at least 1 second, starts off very small in the single digits. That genuinely could be impressions going to your thumbnail, to your YouTube feed. But then as the months go on, I've experienced that once you've uploaded a certain amount of videos, it won't go back to the single digit marks that you started off with, especially if you're less than 3 months in, just like how I am. I've never gone back to single digits in terms of impression. past certain points that you film and past certain amounts of days of content which you've created, that's just not going to happen, and you'll grow to such an extent eventually from stage to stage that you'll never go back to the low figures, or lower figures I should say, in terms of YouTube analytics after a certain while. And from my experience, the first stage in which you don't go back to a lower point is where I'm at now. I'd say around 2 months to 3 months of consistent daily uploads. I'm never going to go back to single digits in terms of impressions, who you see in the thumbnails and that. And eventually, past a certain stage, it won't be single digits for returning viewers and new viewers as well. People who will see the self-improvement community grow, and people who will either join it, just watch for entertainment, or not want to join it for whatever reason that they have. Or perhaps a completely different reason. It's not certainly, it is this reason for sure, it is that reason. Nah, not necessarily. But yeah, those are my thoughts on reaching day 90. I could say that back in day 84, I think that was the day I spoke about it, that I really, really wanted to reach this mark because it would be closer to the day 100 mark. But I would have never thought that it would be now that I'm on my way to creating absolutely major changes in my life in a way that I want. So there's that going, and maybe that will happen for you guys as well. Past a certain point which you want to get to, things will start happening in a way that you don't expect to happen, and you'll grow so much more than you would have ever expected. Alright, I think that's enough of that. I'd actually like to talk about something else as well, something that I forgot to mention at the start. Today is the first day in which I actually trained after having something, but instead of having a large amount of food to eat, like 3 eggs, caramelized onion, spinach with some tuna and or meat, I just had some fruits. This idea was inspired by Money May. I thought of that, and then I thought, you know what, I could try it out. I originally was going to have a sliced apple and an orange, which I split into its segments, and some water if I wanted before having the exercise session, but I just went for 2 oranges. I just picked them up and then I got going. And this made me feel full but agile. It made me feel ready to be able to tackle the exercise session more than I've felt ready in the past, because of even in like yesterday's session maybe and the sessions before it, I felt hungry during these sessions. I think one major example that I'd put out there is the day 88, the power of dehydration video, or the power of dehydration log. That is an example of me feeling hungry and feeling thirsty. Or maybe I was feeling so thirsty that I felt hungry. It seemed like I felt hungry as well. But yeah, that's an example I put out there. And I think from now on, because I now know that it serves me from personal experience, because it allows me to feel full but agile at the same time before training sessions, and it's something light, I'm going to use that from now on for all of my workouts. Okay. I've got 2 main topics that I want to talk about. So I think what I'll do now is I will see where the end of this voiceover lands up and see how much exercise footage I have. I have less than 17.5 minutes worth of exercise footage, so I'll see where that lands, and then from there I'll see if it's time to talk about one of the main topics. And that main topic that I'm referring to is the spot, quote unquote, Joseph and his three boys approached me. I think it's only right that I put timestamps as to when the main topics are, so it doesn't seem like clickbait or anything like that. I think that's what I want to do. I'm going to add timestamps to when I speak about this main topic, the spot, quote unquote, Joseph and his three boys approached me, and monk mode results. But before I talk about these things, I'd actually just like to mention one more thing. I don't know what it was today, but I didn't shower before training. I usually would. I'd usually always shower before training, but this one, for today, I just didn't. It could have been because I was thinking way too much about the short-term discomfort that I know I always experience. I know I always do, but when I push through the short-term discomfort, it's always worth it, and I always feel more awake, alert, and in control of myself, so I could tackle what I set myself with, the hours that I've set aside to do that. This time I did not push through the short-term discomfort. I decided to exercise, and that's now made me feel awake to be able to tackle that cold shower. So after recording this video, that's what I'm gonna go and do. I'm gonna do that and then go get some food as well. Alright, it's failed to record quite a few times now. I think I may have to keep on tapping the screen from now on. So anyway, let's talk about one of the main topics of the video, which is the spot, quote unquote, Joseph and his three boys approached me. It's between one of two benches, but I genuinely think I remember which one it is. I remember exactly which one it is. Not that it's a big deal anymore, because it's come and gone. It's happened, and I've worked through it before. Even in the day 80 video, I've worked through it. But I'm gonna put which one I genuinely think it is. It's between one of the two, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change how it went in any way. The reason why I have decided of all days to record it on this day is because I saw some teens yesterday walk across the street, and I felt a physical tension, a very slight physical tension in my chest, even though they're just teens just existing and walking along the street. And I think the reason why that could have happened is because I've had that sort of fear in the last year, of the teenagers walking across the street with them, with it being quote unquote Joseph and his friends, always so-called friends anyway. I think that's the reason why that I could have felt that physical tension, and it could have also been because I forgot about the fact that I've actually worked through it numerous times. Even recently, I worked through it by recalling the event in the location it happened. After I did that, then I took the photos, and before doing that, I recorded the day 80 video. So yeah, I've got all the photos here. So the story is the same. It's what I explained in the day 80 video, but I think this is just it allows people to have a much more clearer idea of what the environment was like. And the weather was very similar on the day it happened, in contrast with the weather that you see in the photos. I'm going to show all of them. So I'm going to wrap this up quickly, because I've already spoken about it in the day 80 video. So what happened is, they come and walk from the right of the video. No, not the video, sorry, the photo. As if there's a path there. If you did a 180, there's a path that runs through the center of the entirety of the park. It's like a horizontal line that runs through the whole park. And that was the path that they're walking. That was the path that they were walking, and they came from the right of the photo, or photos, I should say. and Joseph notices me, and I remember him saying, "Oh, that's the guy that insulted me about my weight," or something very similar. And then he walks to in my direction, just like how his three friends, or so-called friends, walk in the same direction. Although Joseph spoke to me in a way that was slightly or somewhat hostile, his friends didn't do the same at all. 2 out of the 3 didn't care at all. But when they were right in front of me, actually no, let's go back a few seconds before. As they're approaching my direction, I notice them. I hear them first of all, but then when they're approaching my direction, I notice them. I look up. I look from the right. I tilt my head left. When I say when I was looking at the right, that would be to the left. It facing looking in the direction of the left, to the left of the photo. If I'm explaining myself clearly there, but yeah. So I tilt my head to the left, and then I see them approach me after hearing them. And now that that's happened, I feel an immediate burst of adrenaline, maybe. It felt like an immediate burst of that same sort of physical tension. But just like how it immediately came in the moment, it immediately went away. And I think the reason why that could be is because I knew I wasn't going to budge. I wasn't just going to leave that situation. I wasn't going to just walk away. I think that's the reason why that feeling potentially of adrenaline just kicked in. And now that I think about it and I work through it, it may not actually be fear that I felt, but it may be that same similar adrenaline rush that I experienced in that event, due to potentially not completely working through the fear. Or because I believe I have, I'd say the reason why that could have happened with seeing the teens walk across the street yesterday is because in order for your subconscious mind to be able to get the message, you have to work through these, you have to talk about these things and work through the things over and over and over again, just so that the subconscious mind's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're good. And then eventually you won't have to do that at all. Maybe that's what that was. But yeah, I don't think it actually was fear. I think it could have, seeing the teens yesterday, I don't think that actually was fear, or it was physical tension in my sternum for sure, but I don't think it was fear. I think it was that same similar adrenaline that I experienced during the event, which I'm talking about now. And for future reference, if I haven't said already, this happened in July last year. I remember it being the 26th of July last year. That was the day it happened, and it was a sunny, amazing afternoon. I just went to the park to have a walk and enjoy myself, and then that happened. That's just how it is sometimes. I say sometimes. That's the only similar sort of event that I've had ever in my life, especially in my adult life. I remember in school, I have memories of cool kids try to bully me in that, but I don't think it wasn't anything like this. I remember I have memories of being of the cool kids trying to trap me in at both entrances of the shed, of behind the shed in primary school, but that was really it. And I think because of that memory, I didn't want to actually speak to one of the main people that I remember doing this. I remember this happening, and then I told the teacher, and she said, "Oh no, what was it? Ignore them. Just ignore them." Oh, mate. I don't think, even though it could be a possibility, I don't think that fear that I experienced had anything to do with that event in primary school. even though with that that one event, I remember there was another thing happening. And I remember another event happening in primary school with one guy in particular. He was tall for a school kid. He was tall. He was tall for a primary school kid, around my height, or maybe slightly smaller. And I remember him doing something to me, but I just don't remember what. I want to say headbutt. But I don't know if that actually is the truth. But honestly, when it comes to the situation I'm talking about now, with Joseph and his boys approaching me, I don't think the school thing has anything to do with that, honestly. I don't think it does. But anyway, let's get back to it. I think, so yeah, let's go back to where we left off. So that feeling of fear when I saw them, it was an immediate surge of adrenaline. It was an immediate surge of adrenaline, and then it immediately went away. And one out of the three of his so-called friends, they actually wasn't acting in a hostile way. The two out of the three didn't care, and one out of the three, when they approached me and they saw me, he said he doesn't look like the sort of person that would do that. And throughout the time I was there, I decided I'm not going to budge, as I said. So it seemed like that just kind of kept on happening. He kept on speaking to me in a friendly way. With that in mind, I genuinely believed that he was speaking to me in a friendly way. I don't think it didn't sound like he had he didn't sound like he had ulterior motives. Like, for example, saying, "Oh, that's a nice watch." But again, when he said that, it sounded genuine. It sounded very genuine. It didn't sound like, "Oh yeah, nice watch, run it." It didn't sound like that. Even though he did ask how much it cost. So that's a bit odd. Or maybe I don't know. Not that it matters though. Maybe he did want to. I'm not sure. But honestly though, I really don't think he did, because he genuinely sounded friendly, whereas the other two out of the three didn't care at all. But I think the reason why I think he could have, Joseph, wanted to actually approach me in the first place is potentially to just get under my skin. Even though it may not have I think in the moment, in the very moment and that event, it didn't work. But then that event, along with the dreams that I had, or for example, one of my sisters saying that she dreamt of me passing away violently, and a family relative saying that they're saying something similar, and a family friend saying something similar. I think those dreams in combination with that event was what led me to feel unsafe in my mind for months on end, from that point onwards to the 26th of July to around about maybe a month to 2 months ago, I'd say. I think one of the main stages as to what allowed me to release my fear was, in this case, actually telling my family what happened, because I didn't do that for months on end, but I allowed myself to release, at least even somewhat, by telling parents and I think it may have been only one of my sisters there. Yeah, I remember only telling only one of my sisters, because she was there in the kitchen at that point in time when we were having that serious conversation, and when I was feeling a lot of fear at the time, because there was the dreams, there was that event, and then there was Joseph's brother, or me hearing that Joseph's brother's gone to jail and that he's stabbed people in prison, or at least one person or something. He's done something in jail. That's what I heard. And yeah, I think with all of that combined, that led to me feeling fear, intense amounts of fear, day in, day out, even slightly. No, it was intense. Not only that, but I did feel unsafe in the house as well, because people, at one point in time, before we got blinds, and after something happened with the curtain lace or whatever, yeah, I did feel slightly unsafe every time I was in the kitchen, because people could see in. But now that's not the case anymore now. But around that time the event happened, people could see into the house because there wasn't anything there, which made me feel unsafe. Even still, I wouldn't say it makes me feel unsafe now, but it absolutely makes me feel uncomfortable because I'd like to have some privacy in the house. People could see what we're doing. It's not just me, but what we're doing, and I didn't like that at all because I want my privacy. Especially if it's in the place I live, I want my privacy. I want to be able to do what I truthfully want to do without having thoughts in the back of my mind thinking that some people are watching me. Everyone on the street's watching me. No, I don't want that. All right. So, yeah, they come from the I'll call it the central path which people walk. They came and approached me. I felt that fear, and then let me tell you what happened after. So eventually, after a while, there was no need to insult him, but I taunted him, really. I said, he's still hurt, and then they tried making jokes about it, but I think he genuinely was. But afterwards, I walk. No, let me just have on about that point. I don't think either of us were clean. There was no need for me to to taunt him and insult him, saying that. You think that it would be about something deep, but no, I just called him fat to one of his. I said he was fat to one of his friends because I felt some type of way that he was purposefully trying to make my what am I trying to say? I felt some way that he found it fun to tell me to do things at the skate park that would hurt me. He wanted me to hurt myself for his pure entertainment potentially because of things that are going on at home and the dysfunctional family that he has and situation that he has at home. For example, his brother going to jail and doing those things. So I think that could be one of the reasons why. And even one of the girls at the skate park, she knew exactly what he was doing, but I didn't see it. But she knew exactly what was going on. She literally told me word for word. She spelt it out for me that he was trying to get me to hurt myself. She spelled it out for me, but I carried on doing it anyway. It can show that some people can see what you can't, maybe. And maybe that's a lesson to learn from there. But anyway, let's carry on talking about the main premise of the video. So I've spoken about them approaching me. The friends didn't care, and they actually laughed at him when he said something, when he tried to insult me and get on my skin. I think it was the part when he called me a nonce, and then they laughed at him, not me, but at him. They laughed at him for saying that, and then he was like, "Whoa!" Like one of those teenagers would do. There's another thing that I'm thinking about now that I've actually reminded myself now that I've thought about it, is that he potentially could have said something racist as well. I didn't see him say it, but when I was in the skate park one time, I heard someone that I think sounded like him and genuinely could have been him call him the N-word. I felt short-term discomfort saying that, but yeah, I've said it and that's the truth. And I think when it comes to feeling short-term discomfort, that's your green light to go to talk about things. So I genuinely think it could have been him that said it because it sounded like him, even though I didn't see him say it. That, along with the dreams and the event, and his brother going to jail, and apparently his brother going to jail, and me hearing that he stabbed up people in that, I just didn't want to go. I just didn't want to go to that place ever again. Although I have, and I've actually, in fact, made a private video about me going to that place, and I've been back numerous times to be able to work through that fear that I had. But I genuinely think, now that I've spoken about this, because I've seen teens walk across the street yesterday, even though they absolutely weren't related to Joseph, as far as I'm aware, I wanted to talk about it because of that, because of having that fear. When it comes to feeling fear or anything like that, it's when you feel short-term discomfort when talking about it, that's your green light to talk about it and let it out. That would be something that I'd advise people to do when it comes to talking about things that they're working through, to let it out. Instead of holding yourself back, say what's on your mind. Say what's on your mind and allow yourself to speak freely, because emotional incarceration is one of the things that makes you feel even more fear. The fact you believe in your mind that you can't speak about what you truthfully want to speak about, that's a part of feeling that fear. But when you talk about it freely, like how I've had to undergo short-term comfort in order to do so, like I did in day 80 when I felt fear saying that it was a skate park, even though I don't know where that short-term discomfort came from. It could be just the fact that I was talking about a situation that I once felt fear about. Maybe that's where it came from. But anyway, yeah, speak your mind freely, allow it to happen, because that's what's going to allow you to grow as a person, and that's what's going to allow you to work through that fear. And it absolutely is not wrong to do that. Allowing yourself to free your mind and to free your body, even physically, from emotional incarceration is an amazing thing. It allows you to grow as a person. When it comes to emotions and feelings, they genuinely can be held inside your body physically. Just like how I felt that feeling in I genuinely think it's sternum, in between my pecs, when Joseph and his three so-called friends, or actually friends, approached me. And yesterday when I saw the teens walking across the street, they're just teens at the end of the day. I'm minding my own business, they're minding theirs. It was a perceived danger because of that event, and I can now understand where it's come from. I'd also say one other thing as well, that when it comes to working through fears, when you talk about them and when you work through them in your evening routine, when you write things down, you're working through your fears. It just allows you to clarify and understand where things came from, understand where the fear came from and what's causing it, and all of that. What could be causing it, where the exact events that it's come from. I genuinely think talking through your things that you want to work through, and also writing notes down about it, will allow you to discover new mental pathways, and therefore work through that fear that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to work through if you just allowed yourself to keep the thoughts in the mind and allow the feelings that you had during the moment to stay held up inside you, and for you to therefore feel fear basically every single time, basically 24/7, every single waking hour of the day, and potentially even when you're asleep without even knowing it. For example, because of this event and everything around it, like the dreams, for example, and his brother apparently going to jail and stabbing people, or one person. With all of that in mind, and I didn't let myself release and talk about it, there were times when I look out the bedroom window with the window open, thinking, I wonder if Joseph's there. That's how much it could affect you. It's not the situation that matters, but it's what you can allow to happen when it comes to building fear because of these situations. So if you have something to work through and fears that you have to work through, then I'd absolutely say talk about them freely. Allow yourself to speak about them freely, and have somewhere where you can, a platform of some sort, an outlet of some sort, where you can talk freely about the things that you have on your mind that you want to work through, like YouTube, for example. This allows me to not forget what it's doing now. It's from the Day 82 serious video. It allowed me within less than 24 hours to get rid of years worth of pain, worth of physical pain and resentment and mental resentment and generally speaking, emotional incarceration, like Jason Wilson says. It allowed me to release years worth of that within the space of less than 24 hours. Wow, I didn't know that the video was so long. I've just been looking at all of the voiceovers and how much time I have left in order to, before I have to add more photos, so I can work through. I can do this voiceover with ease. And I've been doing this for about. I have less than 50 minutes worth of footage. No, not footage. Sorry, voiceover. I have less than 50 minutes worth of voiceovers, around 49 or so already. I didn't actually expect it to be this long at all, but it is what it is, and I'm allowing myself to work through any sort of issues or things that any sort of issues that I had with yesterday, seeing the teens on the street. And I noticed I felt that adrenaline or fear. I felt that physical adrenaline in my chest, so I decided that it's time to talk about it now. Now that I've worked through it, I think I'm okay, and I can, well, more than okay, and that I can move on to something different. I wanted to talk about this. I'm not sure if I said it at the start in this way. I wanted to talk about it because I felt that slight fear, and I understand damn well that if I felt it once slightly, that could grow if I don't nip it in the bud today. So I've done that. They're just people walking across the street. Like, they don't matter. I think what it really was is because I was just focusing on them too much, and I could have subconsciously had flashbacks to that event in which I was approaching a hostile way in the park. Not with the three boys didn't do that. They just followed. But Joseph approached me in a hostile way. He couldn't even speak to me like a man and talk about the situation one-to-one. No, he spoke to me in a hostile way when he had three of his friends to back him up. I don't think he would have had the balls to be able to do that if he was just by himself. No way. No way. I think he knew deep down that he had that aspect, that him and his friends, if I said something that he and them disliked enough, they could have jumped me. They had that. I think he knew when going to it, he had that aspect, that it was a 1-4 situation. At least 4 people. It could have been 5, but I think it was 4. I remember only 3. It was the friendly guy who was blonde, the shorter blonde guy who did not care, and also a black-haired guy who also just didn't care, all of them being white. Yeah, okay, I think, it's time to move on. So, let's talk about monk mode results. So I said I was going to start this, and I have, and let's talk about where's the starting point. I made a video asking myself, what would happen? What could happen? How much could I transform my life if I just put my head down for 3 months? That 3 months is now turned into a year. What if I just put my head down for a year and see how drastically I can change my life within this space of time? So that's where it's come. That's where it's come from. And now I'm going to talk about what I've been able to do yesterday. I think where the video idea came from is from just all of these efforts that I've put in. I think I now know. This is going to sound completely random because it's just after that last voiceover I just made. But I think I now know what's cutting the voiceovers off. It's the fact that I'm not putting images when I do the voiceovers. I need to put images so that it can run and stay running without me having to tap the screen. I now know that from now on. But anyway, back to it. Monk mode results. So yesterday, I achieved 2 of the goals that I actually set myself within one day. I created 3 Amazon KDP journal ideas, and I also did something else. I've got it on paper, so let's see. So yes, I made 3 journal ideas. I made the first page of an ebook that I just thought about yesterday. An ebook which is about transforming your life. I want to upload it when I've actually, in my opinion, completely done this. But I already have ideas as to how you can do this, seeing as I'm going through the process. So I could talk about what I have done so far. And the goal for the ebook was to make the first page, or what I really meant was one page worth of content by the 30th of April. And I've done that already. I've done more than that. I'd say maybe like 1.5 pages. And I made 3 journal ideas. I did this in like maybe the space of less than an hour of actual deep work, deep focused work in which there weren't any distractions. And a distraction eventually did come, but it was my parents, my dad in particular, saying that they've come back home from their walk and doing what they need to do. That's what that was. But even still, I found a lot of focus from doing what I set myself outside. So I'm going to carry on doing that from now on. Just staying inside in the bedroom is just so, it's depressing, especially along with the fact that you can hear, that I can hear the news about war and stuff. I'm not interested in trying to, I'm not interested in listening to all of that, things that I can't control, which are negative, especially which are negative as well. But I understand that that's what gets the clicks, that's what gets people watching. So I would much rather work outside, and that could be pushed aside. I'm not hearing that. That's more than fine by me if I'm not hearing that, and I'm not hearing my parents complain about something. So yeah, I want to work out, do my training outside, and also do what I set myself outside. So one of the first things that I want to actually set myself is to book my driving test. I need to do that. There's only so long that I can go doing driving lessons for without actually booking the test. I think my driving instructor says that I'll be ready in a few months, and we'll see. But the first thing that I plan to do today, outside of the plank journey, is to get that driving test booked. One thing that I noticed yesterday as well when doing what I set myself was the focus, as I've said, from my memory anyway, and also that my perception of time slowed right down when I was doing the ebook, when I was making the ebook ideas, when I was making the Amazon journal ideas, and when I applied for a job. This is such a real life story. It's what a story, man. And you're going to see in the future how this pans out. It's certainly going to pan out more than okay, that's for sure. But these are the humble beginnings. These are absolutely the humble beginnings. The reason why I'd want to go to a job for now and work at a job for now is it gives me more time to be able to build this up to a level which makes me, at least it's one source of income, and also a source of income that I enjoy, the fun thing that pays me. And I also have time to I'll be making money through the job, I'll be making money through YouTube eventually, and I'll be making money through the other sources of income that I'm currently making, like the ebook, which I'm eventually going to be making books. So it'll be the ebook and the Amazon KDP. I may be able to do Amazon FBA as well. And then there'd be the YouTube. I could do Patreon as well. I could do courses as well. And that's just 6 sources of income just off the top of my head. Consultations is another one, so that's 7. Like, there are so many sources of income that I can build whilst working at a job, but that's only going to be for so long. That's not the plan, to stay at a customer service role or something similar for the rest of my quote unquote career. That absolutely is not the case. I'd much rather, with the little I know, be a model. I'd much rather be a model and literally get paid to stay in shape. Getting paid to take photos of me being in shape. Like, that sounds like an amazing reality. But again, that's with the extremely little I know. But all of these things, man, they all sound like fun things that pay me. And that's what, as far as I'm concerned, that's what making money is about. Fun things that pay. Not like I need to do career and I need to stay in one path for the rest of my life. No, that sounds boring. Imagine if I live up to 90, for example. If I live up to 90, I want to be doing that job. Maybe not for the rest of my life, but retire at 67. Retire at 67, staying in one field from 20 to 67. Nah, that's not how I see my life panning out. I'm actually going to do these plank journey logs for a long time. And from this, I'll expand. But I don't mind doing this for the rest of my life because, as far as I'm aware anyway, because I have a lot of fun doing this. This is I'm making transforming my life a series. And this is a series I absolutely I show a lot of enthusiasm towards and have a lot of passion for. Now, I want to do these every single day. And they just allow me to think in a much healthier way that I wouldn't otherwise have been able to think. It frees me from emotional incarceration, not being able to speak my mind freely, at least somewhere. And with that mental health aspect in mind, along with the physical health, that with the physical health aspect of me training and exercising, like it's a win-win for me. And not only that, but I'm going to be able to help out many people out there by having something to upload and something to offer, which they can use and they can apply in their lives. Because this isn't just rubbish. This is very real. This is very real. And sometimes it's the realness. How real I talk about things. Not how real, no. How honestly I talk about things. I think that's just going to be one of the main things that allow people to actually further apply what they can learn from my story in their lives, so that they can more easily transform their lives. Anyway, getting back to it, these things, applying for work, making Amazon KDP journals and writing an ebook, these are things that before this monk mode transformation I didn't do. These are things that I've been wanting to do for days, but I haven't done because of the fact that I was allowing watching YouTube to replace that time. That was, at the end of the day, it is on me. It is on me, and I do have to take accountability, which I'm doing now, because it was me mindlessly consuming the YouTube videos. It was me doing that because I was waiting for my videos to upload. I've been doing this, I understand now that I think about it, I've been doing this for years, so it makes sense that a habit that I've built up for years won't immediately go away. It won't immediately just vanish, even though ideally that's what we'd all like, maybe. But I understand that that's just not how it works. But in saying that, I haven't thought about it in this way until now. Habits that you build for years are most likely going to stay. They're going to be habits that you've built, and habits that are going to be even more difficult to take down than habits that you've been trying to build for a month or so, compared to a habit that you've built over years. But anyway, yeah, these things that I've just spoken about here, the applying for a job, Amazon KDP journals, and writing an ebook, these things are things that I've been wanting to do for days, but I just didn't do. And it gives me more hope in life, and I want to keep going every day more than I did when I was making the last log, saying I don't want to be in this sort of environment anymore. I think that was just mainly influenced by me. I allowed myself to be influenced by listening to Central C's new song. I don't want people to think in that same way, so I'm not even going to say what it is. Or I may have said it in that video, I don't know. Or write it down over text in that video, I don't know. But I'm certainly not going to say it here because I don't want to put people in a place where they go and listen to what I've said and then they put themselves in that environment as well. Even though I really like the beat and he knows how to rap on a track. He certainly does. He's been doing it. But I don't want people to listen to that and then because of me, because they've heard what I've said, and then they start feeling that same way. But yeah, I just want to clarify, I wasn't thinking suicidal thoughts at the time. But yeah, man, I don't want people to be in that same way. And it's suicidal thoughts they may be able to come impulsively. I think Hams has spoken about it, and I remember me speaking about it, and I'm feeling major short-term discomfort talking about it now, but I actually had those sorts of thoughts. I think from the day 80, in reference to the day 82 video, I had those similar sorts of thoughts. But I think the reason why is because it could have been because of watching that video, but I questioned it and thought, do I actually want to do that at all? No, I don't. Not at all. Not just when things are starting to get better. No, I absolutely don't want to. Not at all. But I can understand, but I'd actually like to say now that if you do have dark thoughts, whether they be suicidal or homicidal, it's okay. It's more than okay. And the last thing I'd advise people to do is to tell themselves, to beat themselves up over having that thought. But just because you've thought it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, or that or in this case that you actually want to do it at all. Just like how with that suicidal thought that came impulsively, I think it was from watching that video and from being in from allowing myself to absorb negativity. I think that's where the impulsive thought came from. But instead of allowing myself to just stay in that mindset, I thought, no, I questioned it, and I realized, oh no, actually, I don't want to in any way at all. This is just the start of my life, which is getting extremely better, in which I'm transforming for the better. And with that in mind, I'd like to tell other people, if they impulsively have similar thoughts, it's okay. It's okay, but staying that way isn't. I really wouldn't want anyone, including myself or anyone out there, to stay in that dark place. And the way that you can pull yourself out of that I'd advise is working through it, having an outlook like how I do, to speak through and to work through your thoughts. And you will, I'm telling you now, you will experience short-term discomfort, but you exchange experiencing short-term discomfort for long-term comfort. For example, I just experienced short-term discomfort now by saying that I yesterday impulsively had a dark suicidal thought, but I questioned it and I was like, oh no, absolutely not. I absolutely don't want to do that at all. But now that I've said that, I've worked through it and I'm okay now. I think it could have come from listening to that sort of music, like the Central Siege track, but life's just starting to get better, so I absolutely don't. And I think the place where you could start off with was when it comes to working through dark thoughts is the evening routine, and actually questioning the thoughts that you have and practicing, most importantly out of everything, practicing the art of gratitude. I bet you haven't when you have those sorts of dark thoughts. I hadn't when I had that dark thought, and the thoughts that I mentioned in the day 82 video, I hadn't practiced gratitude. So gratitude, in my opinion, is what's going to allow you to stay out of that dark place. And hence, it's going to be one of my main top 3 core pillars to living that hold up and allow me to work towards living an ideal life every single day. Actually, I felt major short-term discomfort just talking about it now, but it's in exchange for short-term comfort. And it could actually show a lesson. It could actually provide a lesson to both myself and anyone. Dark thoughts can hit you at any time. I think, if anything, that's what I've learned from that. But you have to be very, when it comes to self-improvement, that's what's going to allow you to get you through. And you have to work through these things. You absolutely have to. And I'll tell you what, you always come out feeling much better on the other side, because you're allowing yourself to increase your mental health, to improve your mental health by talking things through. Even though it may feel uncomfortable at the start, it's more than okay. And I'd also like to just repeat that dark thoughts, it seems they can hit you at any time. And if you do think them, it is okay. But in my opinion, it's just so unhealthy, and I wouldn't at all advise you to stay in that same place. Something's up. If you're having those sorts of thoughts, something's up. It could be the environment you're in is unhealthy and toxic, hazardous to your mental health. It could be the music you're listening to. If people are talking about, if you think people are talking about wanting to commit suicide or wanting to murder people, like I spoke about in the Day 82 video, it could be that the fact that you're not unleashing your full potential and that you're not doing what you truthfully want to do. But I'll tell you what, when you work through this and you do what you need to do, you work through it using in your evening routine where you have no screens in the room that you'd use, and you write your thoughts down in order to work through what you want to work through. And you have an outlet like this where you can record yourself and just speak your mind freely. So that's what I'd advise people to do when it comes to working through dark thoughts, and also to remember that it's okay, but it absolutely, in my opinion, is extremely unhealthy, and I don't recommend it to stay. I don't recommend you guys or even myself to stay in that sort of dark place. But if you experience short-term discomfort, just like how I did, talking about that thought, that impulsive suicidal thought that I had yesterday, it's more than okay. It is okay. I really think that came from listening to that sort of music, and that's not me talking, if you know what I mean. Listening to that sort of music, and the mind is such a nutrient-rich place that if you don't question what you listen to, like me not questioning what I was listening to when hearing Central C, and he in another music video, he said he's had thoughts of wanting to take his own life. If you don't question it, just like how I didn't question that recent music video, then you're going to much more likely think those same sorts of thoughts. Not even necessarily because you're in an unhealthy place mentally because of your life situation, but because of what you're listening to. You're absorbing that, and that starts to become a part. You allow that to become a part of you. I think that's what I did there, and that's not me. My life is just about starting to get better. So I'm not thinking that way at all, and I know I'm not, because I know I'm not. He may be, but I'm not, because I worked through it. I had to question that idea, and I've been able to work through it, especially with speaking about it, even though I felt short-term discomfort saying this numerous times. But it's more than okay, and I know I'm not that sort of person that's in a suicidal mental state, even though dark thoughts can hit anyone at any time. So I'd say just keep pushing, keep working through it, man, and practice the art of gratitude. If there's anything, I'd say it'd be the evening routine. No screens in the room from when you want to go to sleep, or 1 hour before you want to go to sleep until you're in the middle of your morning routine, to be able to get thoughts onto pad, and also have an outlet to speak about this and practice the art of gratitude. I bet when you have dark thoughts, you're not practicing gratitude. I bet you're not. I bet you aren't. But anyway, yeah, when it comes to the monk mode, it just gives me more hope. That's what I wrote down. It gives me more hope in life. And also gratitude, the fact that I was able to snap myself out of that impulsive thought so quickly. It's actually really nice that I know that's not me talking, that's just something that I absorbed from someone else, and that I didn't question it, and hence it was like it was me thinking that thought. It was me, but it wasn't because of what I've been experiencing. It's because of what someone else has been experiencing and what somebody else has spoken about. Not because that's actually me that has thought that thought. It was him, and I'm absolutely not mocking him if he's in that suicidal mental state, not at all. I'd advise him, if anything, to get some help. He probably he could have more than enough money to go and get a therapist to be able to work through what's on his mind, or do as I've been saying to do. But anyway, few last things that I'd like to add before wrapping this up. Yesterday I went on Skillshare, but I don't remember going on any classes, but it's a start and I can work on that today. And last night, I felt myself feeling a lot more hydrated than I have on other days. I don't know why that could be, but it could genuinely just be because I'm actually hydrating myself enough, more than I have done in the past. Not more than usual, but more than I have done in the past. And I think for now that's going to be it. I'm now going to have to edit the video so I can add the thumbnail and that, and all of the photos. But yeah, so I'm now going to get onto that. Oh mate, that was a long one, much longer than I expected, but I hope you could learn something valuable from it, and I hope you can apply these sorts of things that you're learning in your life, and that these are useful and they have value to you. And I'll see you in the next one. Absolutely take care of yourselves. Don't suppress yourselves. And if you do have dark thoughts impulsively, it's okay. And I'd advise you to use the pieces of advice I just gave a few seconds ago. Even in routine, practice the art of gratitude, most importantly, because I bet you're not feeling grateful for your life if you're having dark thoughts. I bet you're not. And take every day as it comes, and write down, and have a place where, like me, you can speak your thoughts freely. Anyone can start a YouTube channel. Anyone can invest some money in getting an iPhone XR. Anyone could get, or even if you don't want to do that, a camera and a mic, or a different phone. You can do that. You can invest in that. Save little, and then invest in this quote unquote business expense. It will help you out infinite fold, not even tenfold, infinite fold. Trust me. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Please take care of yourselves out there. Don't suppress yourselves. And if you do have dark thoughts impulsively it's okay. But it's really, I wouldn't advise you to stay in that mental space. Something's up, and please do what it takes to do something about it. I've given you my suggestions, and you can work with these. Or if you don't want to, you can use another piece of advice. But please don't just stay in that same position. Instead, you can use the tips that I've advised, or you could go through investing in a therapist or something. Just allow yourself to speak freely and practice the art of gratitude. That's all I'd say. But yeah, that's it. That's the end of the video. This is the second time I'm trying to end it now. I will see you in the next one. Please take care of yourselves. Don't suppress yourselves, and allow yourselves to speak freely somewhere through an outlet like this, and that will allow you to transform your life completely and free yourself from emotional incarceration, which is making you feel ungrateful and potentially leading you to those dark thoughts, whether it be suicidal and or homicidal. Take care of yourselves. Don't suppress yourselves, because that will lead you to emotional incarceration, which could lead you to having dark suicidal and or homicidal thoughts. And allow yourself to work through these things. When you speak about things freely, even though you will experience short-term comfort, you must remember that you will experience short-term comfort. But do remember as well that when you experience short-term discomfort, talking about what I meant was discomfort a few seconds ago, sorry. When you work through short-term discomfort, you'll receive long-term comfort as well. Do remember that when you're working through these fears and issues and challenges that you have to overcome, like dark thoughts. And remember that it's okay if you do have dark thoughts, regardless of how often it is. It's absolutely nothing to beat yourself up about. That could genuinely be leading you to further emotional incarceration, making you think that it's not okay to have the thoughts that you're having. But I'll tell you what though, when you work through it, like how I've worked through the impulsive one I had yesterday, even though it wasn't me that I got the thought from, it was from someone else. If you work through it and you allow yourself to talk about it freely, then that's it. You're on the way to transforming your life completely in the way that you want. And again, just remember that you will experience short-term discomfort doing this many times, just like how I have multiple times through this video talking about that dark thought I had yesterday. I don't even want to say which type it is. I've said it multiple times. I don't need to say it now. But yeah, you will experience short-term discomfort, but it's okay. And I've now given ways to be able to work through them. And if you don't want to, you can invest in a therapist. If you don't want to use the ways that I've given you, you can invest in a therapist, and you can learn through improving your mental health skills by looking at channels like Therapy in a Nutshell and just other mental health content creators as well. Therapy in a Nutshell really helped me with the time when those dreams came about, and that event in which I was approached by Joseph and his 3 friends, who 2 of which didn't care, and one of them were being friendly to me. It allowed me to work through the mental health skills I got from Therapy in a Nutshell. Allowed me to work through that. Jeez, it's hot, man. But yeah, I'd also advise to for mental health to watch a lot of mental health content. That's free. If you're on YouTube, Therapy in a Nutshell is your answer. You can go there and learn from her and other mental health content creators. But yeah, take care of yourselves, don't suppress yourselves, and remember that when you talk about these things freely, you are going to experience short-term comfort. But remember that you're experiencing short-term discomfort for long-term comfort and a much better future. And I mean that in every way: mental, physical, social, legal, everything, every single way that you could think of. In every way, you'll live a better, healthier life by doing these things that I've suggested, because I know that's the case because they've worked for me. Even though they may not work for you, there are some suggestions, and they absolutely can work for other people out there other than myself. So if you're having these sorts of thoughts, or you just want to work through things, I've given you many suggestions to be able to do this. Anyway, that's it. That's the end of the video. I think this is the 3rd time or 4th time I've tried ending this. But yeah, I genuinely think this is the end. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and don't suppress yourselves. And remember that you will feel short-term discomfort talking about these things, like dark thoughts, for example, but you're exchanging short-term discomfort for long-term comfort. Anyway, that's it. Take care of yourselves and don't suppress yourselves. Peace.